I was once this amateur. I chased every rumor, every chart pattern that promised an easy fortune. My mind was a battlefield of greed and fear. I bought on hope, sold on panic. I believed the market owed me a profit, simply because I had studied harder, because I wanted it more. This belief, this desperate need for the market to validate my effort, cost me dearly. It was a cycle of elation and despair, each peak higher, each valley deeper. The cause of this endless torment is simple, a fundamental misunderstanding of the game itself. The market does not care for your intentions. It cares only for the balance of supply and demand, driven by the collective psychology of millions. Your personal conviction is irrelevant. Your hope is a liability. Your fear, a weakness exploited. You cannot control the market. You can only control yourself. This is the bedrock principle. The market is not there to teach you a lesson, nor to reward your virtue. It is a merciless mirror, reflecting your own discipline, or lack thereof. The greatest lesson I ever learned came not from a brilliant trade, but from a catastrophic loss. I held on to a losing position, convinced it had to turn round. My ego refused to admit defeat. I let a small loss swell into a devastating blow. The market, in its cold indifference, taught me that hope is the costliest position on the market. It drains your capital and poisons your judgment. This was my turning point. I stopped fighting the market and started observing it. I stopped predicting and started reacting, but with a strict, predefined plan. I understood that the game was not about being right often, but about losing small and winning big when the conditions were undeniable. My transformation began with a single, brutal truth. I was my own worst enemy. My emotions, my impatience, my arrogance, these were the real threats, not the market itself. I had to conquer myself before I could hope to conquer the market. This meant developing an ironclad discipline. It meant cutting losses without hesitation, letting profits run without interference. It meant understanding that inaction, often, is the most powerful action. Waiting is work. It is the hard work of patience, of resisting the urge to constantly trade, to constantly do something. It is the work of letting the market reveal its hand, rather than forcing yours upon it. The professional trader doesn't seek constant activity, they seek clarity. They wait for the setup, for the confluence of factors that indicate a high probability move. They understand that every trade carries risk, and that managing that risk is paramount. This leads to another crucial insight. Size is survival. Over-leveraging, betting too much on any single idea, is a death sentence. It amplifies your emotions, forcing you to make irrational decisions. A position to large clouds your judgment, makes you pray instead of think. It turns every market fluctuation into a personal assault. I learned this the hard way. Early on, after a string of successes, I would swell my positions, convinced of my own infallibility. I believed I had unlocked the market's secrets, but the market has no secrets, only timeless principles. My oversized bets often led to oversized losses, wiping out months of careful gains in a single, impulsive moment. It was not the market that defeated me, but my own hubris, my inability to manage the size of my ambition. The transformation from amateur to professional is not about acquiring new information. It is about discarding old, harmful habits. It is about understanding that the battle is internal. It is about trading with a clear mind, free from the noise of emotion. It is about respecting capital as your most precious resource, protecting it above all else. The market provides endless opportunities, but only to those who are prepared, to those who have mastered themselves. It punishes the impatient, rewards the disciplined. It strips away illusions, revealing the core truth of human behavior. The core truth is this: the market is a mirror. It shows you your own greed, your own fear, your own impatience. It exposes the weakness in your character, the flaws in your method. Many traders believe they are fighting the market. They are wrong, they are fighting themselves. This internal conflict is the real battleground. Every price fluctuation, Every sudden move tests your resolve. It whispers temptations. Buy more, it's going higher. Sell now, before it crashes. These are not the market's whispers. These are your own emotions, disguised as insight. The amateur listens to these whispers. They act on impulse, driven by the primal urges of the crowd. They see a stock rising and fear missing out. They see a stock falling and panic, selling at the worst possible moment. Their decisions are reactive, not strategic. They are victims of their own psychology. But the professional learns to silence the noise. They understand that emotion is the enemy of clear thought. They observe the tape, not as a source of instant gratification, but as a record of collective action. They look for patterns, for confirmations, for the undeniable shift in the balance of power. This requires immense discipline. It means sitting on your hands when every fiber of your being screams to act. It means resisting the urge to gamble on a hunch. It means accepting that the market owes you nothing, and that patience is not a virtue, but a necessity. *** Waiting is work. ***, it is the most strenuous work a trader can undertake. It is the work of resisting the urge to be constantly engaged, constantly doing ***. I remember countless times, early in my career, when I would force a trade. The market was quiet, offering no clear direction. But I felt I had to be in the game. I would invent reasons, rationalize flimsy setups, just to feel the thrill of the chase. These forced trades almost always ended in losses. They were born of impatience, not opportunity. The market rewards those who wait. It rewards those who observe, who study, who prepare. It rewards those who understand that capital preservation is paramount. You cannot make a profit if you have no capital left to trade. This simple truth is often forgotten in the heat of the moment. And when an opportunity does present itself, it must be approached with precision, not with recklessness, not with the blind faith of a gambler. This brings us back to another timeless principle. Size is survival. A position too large distorts your judgment. It turns every minor fluctuation into a crisis. It forces you to abandon your plan, to act out of fear. I had to learn this lesson repeatedly. After a period of careful, profitable trading, I would feel an unwarranted confidence. I would increase my position size dramatically, convinced that I had found an infallible trend. The market, in its wisdom, would quickly remind me of my place. A single, oversized loss could wipe out weeks, even months, of disciplined gains. It was a harsh tutor, but an effective one. The market does not care how brilliant you think you are. It does not care how much money you have made in the past. It only cares about the present. Your past successes can become your greatest downfall if they breed arrogance. Humility is not a weakness. It is a shield. The true edge in the market comes not from predicting the future, but from reacting intelligently to the present. It comes from understanding the psychology of the crowd, and from resisting the urge to join it. The crowd is almost always wrong at the extremes. They buy the top, they sell the bottom. Their emotions are their undoing. Your job is to stand apart, to observe, to wait, to act decisively when the conditions are right, and to cut your losses mercilessly when they are not. This is not easy. It goes against every human instinct. It requires a transformation of your very character. The transformation begins when you stop looking for external answers and start looking within. When you realize that the market is merely a reflection of collective human behavior, and your success depends entirely on your ability to manage your own behavior. It's about self-mastery. Many believe that successful trading is about a secret formula, a hidden indicator. They chase these phantoms endlessly. They spend fortunes on systems and gurus, hoping to buy certainty. But certainty does not exist in the market, only probabilities. And the highest probability trades are those where you are in control of your reactions, not the other way around. The market speaks a language of price and volume. It tells a story. Your task is to learn to read that story, without projecting your hopes or fears onto it. To see what is not what you, want to be. To distinguish between genuine strength and speculative frenzy. between real weakness and temporary correction. This discernment comes from experience, yes, but more importantly, from a disciplined approach, from a framework that guides your decisions, rather than letting your emotions dictate them. It's a system built on observation, not anticipation, on risk management, not reckless betting. The amateur chases profits. The professional manages risk. This is a fundamental distinction. The amateur sees every day as an opportunity to get rich. The professional sees every day as an opportunity to execute their plan, to protect their capital, and to wait for the high-probability setups. This mindset shift is everything. It changes how you view losses. A loss is not a failure. It is a cost of doing business, a signal to reevaluate, a lesson learned. It is a necessary component of the game, provided it is kept small. Hope is the costliest position on the market, because it prevents you from taking that small loss, allowing it to fester and grow into a devastating one. The market never forgets. It remembers every undisciplined act, every emotional decision. It will exact its price. But it also rewards those who respect its power, who understand its timeless principles, and who master themselves. The struggle is relentless, but the reward is profound. The ability to navigate uncertainty with a clear mind and a steady hand. This transformation is not a single event. It is a continuous process, a daily battle against your own nature. The market will always test you. It will always tempt you. It will always try to break your discipline. But with each test overcome, with each emotional impulse resisted, you grow stronger. You become less reactive, more strategic. You become the master of your own trading destiny. The market is merely the medium. The real work, the real opportunity, lies within. It is the conquest of self. And once you begin that conquest, the market begins to reveal its true nature, not a beast to be tamed, but a vast, impartial arena where discipline and observation are your only true allies. The market has no memory, no malice, no generosity. It does not reward effort, nor punish laziness. It simply presents opportunities and consequences, without judgment. For years, I approached it as a puzzle to be solved, a wild animal to be broken. I thought my intellect, my sheer force of will, could bend it to my desires. This was the fundamental error, the source of all my deepest regrets. I believed the market was personal. It took devastating losses, the kind that strip you bare and leave you questioning your very sanity, to shatter this illusion. I saw my capital, my future, evaporate not because the market was against me, but because I was against myself. I was projecting my hopes, my fears, my ego, onto an indifferent force. I was fighting shadows, ghosts of my own creation. The true turning point arrived not in a flash of genius, but in the quiet, agonizing aftermath of a particularly brutal defeat. I sat there, staring at the ticker, not with anger, but with a profound, chilling clarity. The market wasn't mocking me. It wasn't even aware of me. It was simply being asterisk. Its movements were a reflection of collective human action, of greed and fear, playing out on a grand scale, but utterly devoid of personal intent towards me. This was the psychological plot twist. The market had never been my enemy. It was just a mirror. A perfect, unblinking mirror reflecting every flaw in my character, every lapse in my discipline. My struggle was never with the market itself, but with the man staring back from that reflection. The beast I thought I was taming was my own untamed self. This realization reframed everything. My previous understanding of the game was entirely inverted. I wasn't there to outsmart the market. I was there to outsmart myself, to overcome my own impatience, my own fear, my own irrational hope. The market was merely the instrument, the impartial judge of my self-mastery. It demanded nothing but cold, rational execution. Suddenly, the principles I had learned through bitter experience ceased to be mere rules and became profound truths. Hope is the costliest position on the market. Because it is the ultimate expression of self-deception. A refusal to accept what is for what you wish would be. It blinds you to reality, keeps you clinging to losing positions, and drains your capital with a smile. It is the ego's last stand against the inevitable. And waiting is work. Because it is the conscious act of suppressing the most primal human urges. The need for action, the fear of missing out, the desire for instant gratification. It is the discipline of stillness, of observation without interference. It is the recognition that profitable opportunities are rare, and forcing a trade born of impatience is simply a donation to the market. It is the strength to do nothing when doing something would be foolish. Size is survival. Became less about a numerical limit, and more about psychological protection. An oversized position isn't just a financial risk. It's a direct assault on your mental fortitude. It amplifies every tremor, distorts every signal. It transforms you from a detached observer into a desperate gambler, praying for a favorable outcome. This understanding solidified my conviction. Never let a position grow so large that it dictates your emotions, that it forces you to abandon your plan. The market, in its absolute indifference, became my greatest teacher, not my tormentor. It taught me that genuine strength comes not from predicting its next move, but from mastering my own reactions to its undeniable movements. It taught me that certainty is a dangerous illusion, but clarity, derived from disciplined observation, is a powerful weapon. This intellectual reward, this hard-won payoff, was the freedom from the internal battle against an external illusion. The market was not a chaotic lottery, nor a personal enemy. It was a mechanism, a vast, complex machine that responded to collective human action. My job was not to fight the machine, but to understand its mechanics, to read its signals, and to align my actions with its prevailing forces, free from the interference of my own flawed humanity. This shift in perspective was not merely intellectual. It was visceral. It changed how I breathed, how I slept, how I looked at the ticker tape. The fear dissipated, replaced by a calm, calculating focus. The greed subsided, replaced by a strategic patience. I no longer chased the market. I waited for it to come to me, on my terms, according to my rules. It was the realization that the market doesn't care about your stories, your hopes, or your desperation. It only cares about the balance of power between buyers and sellers, and your ability to align with the dominant force. And in that alignment, stripped of personal baggage, lay the true path to consistent profitability. The market isn't personal, and neither should your trading be. It's a cold, hard business, demanding cold, hard logic. Every trade became a test of my discipline, not a battle against an opponent. My greatest victories came not from brilliant predictions, but from patient, disciplined execution of a well-defined plan, and the ruthless elimination of my own emotional interference. The market simply is asterisk. My role is to observe, to react, and to protect my capital above all else. This truth, earned through pain and loss, became the bedrock of my trading philosophy. It was the ultimate liberation. This liberation was not a license for recklessness. It was a call to an even higher standard of discipline, a rigor I had previously only glimpsed. The market's indifference became my greatest ally, for it meant it held no personal vendetta, only impersonal truths. My task was no longer to conquer it, but to understand its mechanics, and, more crucially, to conquer myself. This meant systematizing my observations, codifying my reactions, and adhering to them with an almost religious fervor. The amateur trader, still locked in the old delusion, continues to seek external validation. They chase tips, subscribe to newsletters, or endlessly scan for the magic indicator. They believe the market holds secrets that can be bought or discovered, rather than principles that must be earned. They mistake activity for progress, constantly trading, constantly doing something. They are driven by the fear of missing out, by the siren call of quick riches. Their minds are a cacophony of noise, their decisions a series of emotional reactions, but the professional understands that the true work often happens in stillness. It is the work of observation, of patience, of waiting for undeniable confirmation. It is the arduous labor of resisting the primal urge to act when no clear opportunity presents itself. I learned that the most profitable position, often, is no position at all. Waiting is work. It is the conscious suppression of impatience. The strength to let the market unfold without your interference. It is the quiet discipline of preserving capital, knowing that opportunities will inevitably arise for those who are prepared, for those who haven't squandered their resources on impulsive gambles. The market, in its ceaseless motion, constantly tests this resolve. It whispers promises of easy money, of fleeting opportunities that must be seized. It preys on the fear of being left behind, on the illusion that every price movement is a chance to profit. These whispers are not the market's voice. They are the echoes of your own untamed emotions, disguised as insight. The amateur succumbs, chasing these illusions, only to find themselves ensnared in losses. The professional recognizes them for what they are: distractions designed to break discipline and separate fools from their money. I learned to discern between genuine signals and mere market noise. This required a relentless commitment to my method, a refusal to deviate from my plan, no matter how seductive the market's temptations. My rules became my armor, my discipline, my shield. I understood that every trade carries risk, and the primary objective is not to be right, but to manage that risk intelligently. This brings us back to another fundamental truth. Size is survival. An oversized position is not an act of confidence. It is an act of desperation. It amplifies every tremor, distorts every signal, and transforms you from a detached observer into a desperate gambler. It ties your emotions directly to the ticker, making objective decision-making impossible. I witnessed countless traders, brilliant in analysis, destroyed by their inability to control their position size. They confused conviction with recklessness, believing that a strong opinion justified an enormous bet. The market, however, only cares about the balance of power, not the strength of your opinion. My own early failures were replete with examples of this hubris. After a string of profitable trades, I would feel invincible, convinced I had mastered the market. I would then double, triple my positions, only to see months of hard-won gains evaporate in a single over-leveraged misstep. It was a brutal, repetitive lesson. The market has no memory of your past successes, and it will punish arrogance without mercy. It was not the market that defeated me, but my own untamed ambition, my failure to respect the immutable principle of capital preservation. The professional trader embraces humility. They understand that they are merely participants in a vast, complex mechanism, not its master. They approach each trade with a defined risk, a clear exit strategy, and an unwavering commitment to their plan. They know that the market does not care for your hopes, your fears, or your cleverness. It simply is asterisk, and your job is to align your actions with its prevailing forces, not to impose your will upon it. This alignment requires a continuous battle against the self. The market will always provide reasons to deviate, to doubt, to panic, to chase. It is a constant test of character, a relentless examination of your discipline. But with each test overcome, with each emotional impulse resisted, the professional grows stronger, more detached, more precise. They understand that the true edge in trading comes not from predicting the unpredictable, but from consistently executing a predictable plan, free from the interference of their own flawed humanity. The amateur sees a loss as a personal defeat. They cling to losing positions, fueled by ego and a desperate wish for a turnaround. This is where hope is the costliest position on the market. It is the refusal to admit error. The stubborn belief that the market must eventually validate their initial judgment. This clinging transforms small, manageable setbacks into catastrophic losses, draining both capital and psychological resolve. The professional, however, views a loss as a cost of doing business, a signal to reevaluate a necessary component of the game, provided it is kept small and swiftly cut. There is no ego in admitting defeat to an indifferent force. The transformation, therefore, is not a destination, but a journey. It is a daily recommitment to self-mastery, a continuous refinement of discipline. The market will always be there, indifferent and powerful. Your success depends entirely on your ability to meet it with a clear mind, a steady hand, and an unshakable adherence to the principles that govern your own actions. The professional, however, understands that true strength lies not in constant action, but in strategic inaction. They recognize that the market's greatest temptations are often disguised as opportunities. The allure of quick profits, the fear of missing a sudden surge, these are the emotional currents that drown the undisciplined. They learn to silence the noise, both external and internal, and listen only to the clear, unbiased language of price and volume. This mastery of self allows them to exercise the most difficult virtue in trading, patience. Waiting is work. It is the grueling labor of resisting the urge to jump into every fleeting movement, of letting the market reveal its true intentions. It is the wisdom to preserve capital when no high-probability setup exists, knowing that rash action is merely a donation to the market. This discipline of stillness is not passive. It is an active, conscious decision to adhere to a plan, to protect one's mental and financial capital from the constant barrage of market noise and emotional appeals. They understand that every trade is a calculated risk, not a gamble, and this understanding dictates their approach to capital. Size is survival. It means never exposing so much capital on a single idea that it compromises your judgment, that it forces you to pray rather than think. An oversized position turns every minor fluctuation into a personal assault, making rational decision-making impossible. It transforms a strategic participant into a desperate gambler, ruled by fear and hope. My own journey was a relentless battle to internalize this. I had to learn, again and again, that my greatest enemy was not the market's volatility, but my own impatience, my own arrogance, my own susceptibility to the crowd's emotional waves. The market simply is but my reaction to it was entirely my responsibility. This constant vigilance against my own impulses became the cornerstone of my success. The market never punishes ignorance directly. It punishes the trader who mistakes their own emotional impulses for genuine insight. It punishes the arrogance that refuses to admit error, the impatience that forces trades, and the hope that clings to losing positions. It is an unyielding crucible, constantly refining the disciplined and breaking the undisciplined. The true reward is not just financial gain, but the profound self-mastery achieved through this relentless internal struggle. This is the enduring truth the market teaches. If you are willing to listen, if you are willing to face yourself, this profound self-mastery, born from countless defeats and the brutal honesty of the ticker, revealed the true nature of the game. I stopped battling an external entity and began mastering my internal landscape. The market became my impartial teacher, its movements a clear, unbiased language. I no longer sought to predict, I sought to understand. My decisions shifted from impulsive reactions to calculated responses, guided by unwavering discipline. The battle was never against the market itself, but against the relentless current of my own human frailties, my impatience, my greed, my fear, my ego. Once this was understood, the external struggle diminished, replaced by an internal vigilance that became my greatest asset. The principles I had learned through bitter experience now resonated with an entirely new depth. Waiting is work. Became the bedrock of my strategy, not a mere rule, but a conscious, deliberate act of strength. It was the grueling labor of resisting the primal urge to act when no clear opportunity presented itself, of preserving capital from the siren calls of impatience and the fear of missing out. I understood that the most profitable position, often, is no position at all, and that rash action is merely a donation to the market. This discipline of stillness was not passive. It was an active, conscious decision to adhere to a plan, to protect my mental and financial capital from the constant barrage of market noise and emotional appeals. It was the strength to let the market unfold without my interference, to wait for undeniable confirmation, for the high probability setup to present itself on its own terms, rather than forcing my will upon it. Similarly, asterisk size is survival, asterisk transformed from a guideline into an instinct, deeply ingrained in my very being. An oversized position was no longer just a financial risk. It was a direct assault on my mental fortitude. It amplified every tremor, distorted every signal, and turned me from a detached observer into a desperate gambler, praying for a favorable outcome. I learned, through repeated, painful lessons, that true conviction did not come from the magnitude of a bet, but from the clarity of the analysis and the unwavering adherence to risk management. Never again would I allow a position to grow so large that it dictated my emotions, that it forced me to abandon my plan. My capital was my army, and I would deploy it with precision, never recklessly exposing it to unnecessary peril, understanding that a small, controlled risk was the only path to long-term endurance. An asterisk hope is the costliest position on the market. Asterisk became the ultimate, brutal truth, etched into my soul. It was the refusal to admit error, the stubborn belief that the market must eventually validate my initial judgment. It was the ego's last stand against the inevitable, blinding me to reality and keeping me clinging to losing positions. I saw how this clinging transformed small, manageable setbacks into catastrophic losses, draining both capital and psychological resolve. The professional, I realized, views a loss not as a personal defeat, but as a cost of doing business, a signal to reevaluate, a necessary component of the game, provided it is kept small and swiftly cut. There is no ego in admitting defeat to an indifferent force. There is only logic and capital preservation. This intellectual reward, the freedom from emotional torment, the clarity of purpose, the quiet confidence that comes from knowing you are no longer fighting the market, but simply dancing with its rhythm, on your own terms, was the culmination of my transformation. It was the understanding that the market doesn't owe you anything, but it will reflect your own discipline with merciless accuracy. This profound shift allowed me to see the market not as an adversary, but as a vast, complex mechanism of human behavior. My focus moved from trying to predict its chaos to understanding its underlying principles, driven by timeless human psychology. I learned to read the tape, not as a crystal ball, but as a dispassionate ledger of collective action, revealing accumulation and distribution, trend and consolidation. My advantage no longer lay in superior information, but in superior self-control and a methodical approach. The market became a canvas for my discipline, a proving ground for my patience, a mirror reflecting my mastery over myself. Every trade, every decision, was now a conscious act, detached from the emotional whirlwind that consumed lesser traders. The market's indifference, once a source of frustration, became my greatest ally. It meant it held no personal vendetta, only impersonal truths. My task was no longer to conquer it, but to understand its mechanics, and more crucially, to conquer myself. This meant systematizing my observations, codifying my reactions, and adhering to them with an almost religious fervor. The amateur trader, still locked in the old delusion, continued to seek external validation, chasing tips, subscribing to newsletters, or endlessly scanning for the magic indicator. They believed the market held secrets that could be bought or discovered, rather than principles that must be earned. They mistook activity for progress, constantly trading, constantly doing something, driven by the fear of missing out, by the siren call of quick riches. Their minds were a cacophony of noise, their decisions a series of emotional reactions, forever trapped in the cycle of hope and fear. But for the professional, that cacophony fades. The true battle is won not on the exchange floor, but within. The market, in its ceaseless, indifferent motion, is merely a mirror. It reflects your discipline, patience, self-control, or exposes your greed, fear, impatience. True predictability lies not in foretelling its next move, but in mastering my reactions. My strategy shifted from outsmarting the ticker to outlasting my impulses. This internal victory, this profound self-mastery, was the real fortune, the quiet confidence born from taming myself, Therefore, the market never truly changes. Human nature, with its cycles of greed and fear, remains constant. Its principles are eternal. The only variable you control is yourself. Your patience, commitment to cutting losses, unwavering position, sizing, these are your true assets. This journey, from speculator to professional, is not about a secret formula. It is about forging character, relentless emotional detachment, letting logic guide your hand. The market is not for quick riches, but a proving ground for self-knowledge. Every trade is a test. Every loss, if examined, is a lesson. And so, the greatest insight: the market does not punish ignorance. It punishes arrogance, disguised as confidence, impatience for conviction, and hope clung to as strategy. It is an unyielding mirror, reflecting your true self. The disciplined trader thrives because they separate ego from capital, emotions from decisions. Success is not measured by individual wins, but by consistent application of sound principles. This is the enduring truth, the quiet power from the market's crucible. It is the freedom from accepting the market, focusing solely on what you control: your actions, discipline, mind. In the end, the market never stops teaching. It simply waits for you to learn. Your journey, like mine, will be defined by the battles won within yourself. It is a path of continuous introspection, of relentless self-improvement. The market offers endless opportunities, but only to those prepared, those who have conquered their inner demons. If this journey of self-mastery resonates with you, and you seek to apply these timeless principles to your own trading, then engage with this message. Like, comment, and subscribe to join a community dedicated to disciplined thinking and the pursuit of true market understanding. It is a path less traveled, but the rewards are immeasurable.